Hey guys, how's it going? It's that nerd Ryan here with the final installation of my review of every single Pokemon region with the Galar region. I hope you guys have enjoyed the series like I have so far, and without further ado, we have a lot to talk about today, so let's jump right into this final episode. So let's talk about the design of the region. Basically, you take the UK and you flip it upside down, and there you go. End of story. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, guys, I know we've probably heard of that 1,000 times, but it's basically true. In all seriousness, though, Galar does have a diverse section of towns to run through, like the magical town of Balloonlia and the steampunk town of Motosoke. The routes are pretty passable, but I will say the meat of the game is the wild area, which is pretty cool for about a month or two. After a while, the wild area kind of gets repetitive, and not to jump ahead, but it feels the same way with Isle of Armor as well as Clown Tundra after a while. But it's still fun to play in the area. As in scenery, everywhere is beautiful, which I want to thank the Switch for, because you would never see this on a DS. Trust me. So next we should talk about our good friends, the starters. As always, we get to choose between water, fire, and grass. And I have to say, all three starters are a pretty solid design as well as to play with. We have Sobble, Grookey, and Scorbunny. While I played Sword with Grookey and Shield with Scorbunny, I did breed a shiny Sobble that's now officially part of my competitive team, and his name is Bond. He's the forefront of my team. While I originally didn't care much for Sobble, he grew on me and became my favorite, as Grookey as my second, and Scorbunny as my third favorite. I will say that basically all the new Pokemon are great, making this generation my favorite when coming to introducing new Pokemon. Some of my favorites have to be Corviknight, Duraludon, and Grimmsnarl. And my favorite Galarian form has to be Farfetch'd and Sirfetch'd. Next, let's talk about gyms. Yes, they're back, but then again, they're not. They're gyms, but they're not gyms. So the gyms in the game are a mix of trials from the last games as well as gyms from the originals. As in, you do a task and then you beat the gym leader. Instead of getting badges, you get pieces of a medallion. I will say the gym leaders are way more memorable, but I don't know if it's because these are the newest games or because they're actually pretty awesome and all have personalities, and the music of the gym battles, which is my all-time favorite. Anywho, after beating the gym leaders, you actually enter into a tournament instead of going to the Elite Four to get to the other tournament to fight the champion, Leon, who's the champion, by the way. He's kind of the greatest. Which brings me to the next point, the characters that you meet. First off, there's Leon, who's the champion. He's kind of the greatest trainer in Galar. Then there's Hop, who's Leon's brother, which Leon is the champion and honestly one of the best trainers in Galar. Then there's Bede, who is your other rival, who has no relation to Leon, who's the champion. Then there's Marnie, who is actually related to a gym leader and not Leon, although Leon is the champion. One of the other characters is Chairman Rose, who's pretty good friends with Leon, who's also the champion. So let's talk about Leon, even though we basically already just did, because his main personality trait is basically that he's the champion and he will always talk about how he's the champion. And it does get annoying after a while, but it's still pretty fun to see him whenever he shows up. The sad part of his team is honestly the easiest part is to beat them. So it's kind of hilarious with him bragging about being the champion all the time, and then you could wipe the floor with him. Afterwards is one of your rivals, Hop, who is in fact Leon's brother, which actually makes him more interesting. This is because he is considered to be constantly in Leon's shadow, and you can actually tell that it bothers him to death. Even though he seems happy like Hao, it adds another dimension to that character. Bede is your edgy rival who will always impede on you and kind of annoy you, but in the end he does become a pretty responsible gym leader. Next is Marnie, who is the e-girl rival that you have to face and is also the major person for Team Yell to rally behind. So yes, she's basically a modern-day e-girl. And if you watched my Alola video when I talk about Lusamine, next we bring up Chairman Rose, who I have to say, right when I saw him, I called it. I knew he was going to be the villain right when I met him. So overall, the characters are fine. Let's talk about the story now. Story is what I wanted in a Pokemon game, and I gotta say, be careful what you wish for. I kind of secretly wanted the Pokemon games to be where you were mostly focused on just handling the gyms, while the other stuff that was going around you was handled by the actual champion, which in reality is how it should be. It shouldn't just be held by a 10-year-old kid. With barely any actual evil teams, I mean, Team Yell, yeah, they're kind of just rowdy fans. The corporation that Chairman Rose runs is only there for about 15 minutes. But other than that, you'll have situations that happen, and then Leon takes care of them as you go and battle the gyms. And the only thing is that the time that you have to face Chairman Rose and get Eternatus, it only takes about a half an hour. Everything else Leon usually handles. After beating the game, the post-game is about a 3-hour tour of cleaning up new uninteresting villain duo's plot to reclaim their ancestry legacy. It's literally a quick run around, then you catch the box legendary and then fight Hop, who has the opposite legendary. But wait, there's more. Because if you offer one payment of $35, or two if you have both games, you get an expansion pack that is the Crown Tundra as well as the Isle of Armor. Now I am going to go off script for this because when I originally wrote this, I planned to do these two on a separate video, but now that Crown Tundra's out, I could just cover it really quickly. Crown Tundra is pretty interesting. It's really, really cool. It's the newest one out, and literally is focused on legendaries and exploration. I've already caught all the new legendaries except for Regieleki and Glacisteer, and I've even done the Swords of Justice. And then we go to Isle of Armor, which you're introduced with Kubfu. And I will say Kubfu is one of my favorite Pokemon in the new games as well. And basically it's about training and leveling up and getting Urshifu. Out of the two, I do say I do enjoy Crown Tundra a little more just because it has a Christmassy feel to it, while Isle of Armor has a summery feel to it. So let's wrap this region up with a ranking. As you can tell, I love this region and this game, and I actually have clocked in, as of writing this, 178 hours just on Sword alone. So by now, it is probably 190 hours. I love this region the most, making it have a 10 out of 10 for me. And since we're at the end, I'll be ranking all of the regions. Number 1 is Galar, number 2 is Johto, number 3 is Hoenn, number 4 is Kanto, number 5 is Kalos, number 6 is Alola, number 7 is Unova, and number 8 is Sinnoh. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to share. Don't forget that by the end of the year, if I reach 100 subscribers, we are doing a $20 gift card raffle giveaway. So make sure if you haven't subscribed yet, you subscribe. So thank you guys, and it's that nerd Ryan reminding you that we're all Pokemon Masters on